Hi everyone, welcome to the third episode of the third season of Journey Hub. And today we are live from Toronto and we have a special guest with us, Yuli Shumsky, and he's a vice president um, at Canadian Tire Corporation, and he do digital marketing and operations. So he's a leader with more than 10 years of experience in the industry, helping clients to maximize their successes with their marketing budgets. And today we have a chance to speak with him and to learn more about his experience. So thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today. And we're excited to hear more about your journey.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys. Really looking forward to some fun times with you too.
Thank you so much. So, yes, I'll start with the first question for you. So, we would love to hear more about your experience first. Just please tell us more about yourself. And of course, at your position right now. Just as a student myself, just not a long time ago, I would love to hear what's your typical days like and what you do for a job at this point. And I would say, what's the career journey is like, how to get there, how did you succeed it? Uh, like this so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in this space for some time. Back in the days of affiliate marketing, 2004, 2005, and I got into space while I was still in university, and I kind of like started as a summer job, but it turned out to be a pretty lucrative job. So I went back to school part time and started working full time. Never actually left the space. I ended up graduating with a marketing degree, which kind of came in hand over time with the digital skills I was developing at the same time while in school. And I've always wanted to be a digital marketer, a person that can make a difference using all the cool digital stuff that we all have access to. Whether you're an advertiser or just a regular person, just using doing digital things on your phone and whatnot. So kind of put the two and two together, and currently I am associate vice president of digital marketing at Canadian Tire. And my job, just to give you kind of top level overview, is basically oversee the operations and performance of internal digital marketing agency.
You know, that's pretty awesome. Working for around 15 to 16 years into digital marketing, even when it was quite naive, to the industry, the digital marketing term in particular. So that in itself is a very big thing. You know, uh, mm, uh, we have had people, but to be in the industry for such long period and be doing those particular things is very important. And I think so, moving on from that point to the second point, that I what do you think that what's that one thing in your career that you would have wished while moving in this particular path that you have chosen as digital marketing?
Yeah, your question is, what's the one thing I wish I would have known when
Yeah.
I started? Yeah, absolutely. And you'll probably hear me say this numerous times through our conversation. Is I wish I would have known that knowing more than one thing is actually more beneficial to you in your career growth than knowing one thing really well, right? And that's something that takes some time to kind of realize, especially as a new person starting into the industry. And my path was I kind of went with the flow. I worked for a company for 4 years, was my very first job, and I kind of just did what they told me to do. um the little I understood is that they were kind of giving me experience from different perspectives, and once I had left that company, I was able to kind of put to use all the things all the different jobs that I had done. I was like an affiliate manager, a search engine marketer, media buyer, right? And that's kind of what gave me like a more holistic, I guess, ability to put a bigger picture together, and like trying to understand how all these things work together. And then from there, I just, once I realized that that was the key, I put a lot of effort into trying to learn things that were not necessarily like part of my day-to-day job. It's I've found that helps you develop in your career faster, because you may end up in conversations where people are talking about digital, and the more aspects of digital you can talk to or hold a conversation with various people, the more people realize that you're not kidding around, you're serious about it. And you're here to do business and you can support or contribute in multiple areas.
When you're just starting, that's more like follow-up question. When you're just starting, because I'm social media manager, I don't do like paid advertising right now just because like other clients sometimes don't require that. But how position like yourself as an actual expert if you are you know a lot of things. So you can do like paid ads, you can do like content creation, you can do community management or whatever. So there's so many things. How to make sure that if you know all the things, you're still an expert and you're able to showcase that to a potential employer or to your, I don't know, manager.
Mhm.
Or on the other end, if you know only one thing really well, how would you like suggest to approach that when you get to the industry? So if you know only like social media management or content management really well, how should the person or student approach that when they're trying to find a job?
Yeah, so it's a really good question, and I wish more people asked that kind of question. I'll give you my honest answer. Like, I'll just tell you exactly what I've done myself and exactly things that have helped me. So I was in positions where where you have one job for a year or two, or maybe longer, and but you begin to realize that you should maybe invest into other things. So what I had done, there's all these things that are out there that you can just do for yourself. You can practice yourself. Facebook, social media, Google Ads, all these things. You don't need to be a big corporation, or you can be just a regular person. All you need is a credit card to create an account, set up a website. It takes nothing these days, right? You can watch a YouTube video on how to do all these things. And what kind of puts some people in a better light than others is people that actually go ahead and do it, like while being a student, while not having a job, but realizing that when you get to the interview and being able to have a concrete conversation about real things that you've done with your own hands, it goes much further than you just knowing the theory or thinking that you understand how the stuff works. And just honestly, like, that's what I had done. And even I've taken the time to learn email. Like, I've sat down with email marketers from major agencies, and I said, hey, can you log into this and show me how you do it? I've sat down with e-commerce people that operate big corporate websites, and I've asked the same question: can you please, like, take me through this, right, as a person who knows nothing? And I would recommend doing that to anybody. Like, if you want to be an email marketer, you can get on MailChimp for free. Send emails to yourself. I get a really good understanding of how that works. You want to be a social media marketer? Go to Facebook, punch in your credit card, open an account, put in 50, $100, run some ads. You want to be an expert in Google Analytics? All you need is a website. Everything else is there. It's available. And once you have those skills, even if like you've done it once and you spend $50 here, $20 there, you have a real solid understanding of how things happen. You can bring that to the interview, and that would be impressive.
That's actually, thank you so much for this advice. I'm sure like a lot of people struggling with that part. So that will be like very, very helpful to them. And we will go back to this question a little bit later, but more about like your job and your everyday, I would say, responsibilities. So with COVID-19 and with all us working remote from home, having fridge downstairs and having access to like so many like things and social media, it's not like someone is supervising you. It became difficult and became sometimes like really frustrating. But what keeps you energized and inspired every day at work?
Yeah, good question. So a little bit about me, I guess. So maybe like last 10 or so years of my career have been around creating new things or new capabilities, whether it be like digital marketing vendor side or agency or client side. 2010, 2011, I had a job as like one of the first programmatic shops in Canada. It was Mediative, Yellow Pages, and I was the product manager. So like that was motivating me, like, I'm doing this thing that I've never heard of. It's so awesome. Then I went on, to work at an agency, and the said agency decided to build an internal trading desk, and or whether I was supposed to rely on other people. So I got an opportunity to lead that, and I moved on to CIBC, something similar. Now Canadian Tire is a full-on in-house digital marketing agency. So that's kind of been my drive over the last 10 years, is like knowing that I'm a good marketer, knowing that I'm a good digital marketer, and how can I bring that to a place where I work to make it better, faster, bring on people on board, and create a good team, and all the good things.
You told us about, you being there in the programmatic section back in 2010, 2011, and you started that particular thing as a newish into that particular thing. And then, now being as a veteran. So I wanted to know that, are there any particular skills that you require in order to grow day to day? Or it's like, the most of the things are in the system and being there and learning all those particular things?
If you want to be a good hands-on digital marketer, I'll give you guys a secret. All of these platforms, regardless of the channel, even email, even e-commerce, about 80% of it, they're all the same. They all function the same way, right? And all you got to do is know how to use one well, and then just put yourself in a position where you can just get into other platforms. And once you're in there, trust me, if you know one of them, you can work pretty much the rest of them. So just get into and try different things. You like, things might be called differently, they may look different, but the way they function and the purpose is all the same.
Yeah, and actually that's true. I'm telling you as a social media manager. So I totally understand that. And honestly, for a lot of people, it gets sometimes confusing and scary that they will get in an industry and then, oh my God, I need to know like all these platforms. I need to know all these social media channels. And if they don't see or they see this range of social media platforms in a job description, they just get scared and like, no, I'm not applying, I'm not qualified. But
That's
sometimes,
a mistake that people make, I find. I'm glad you brought that up. I see that happen a lot myself, and like my counterpoint to that, or my advice would be like, you shouldn't care about any of that, especially when you're first getting in, because you're not gonna know what you really want until you get into the industry. Like, if I'm new and I'm trying to get in, I'm applying to anything and everything, and I'm attending any interview that anybody will give me, just so I can get into the industry. I don't care about the pay, or you know what I mean? Like, all those things, they become secondary. Once you're in, this is like my personal advice. Once you're in, you can take the time and see what's out there and try a bunch of things, and then you can find what you really like and what you don't. And what I've seen happen before is like people thinking, oh, I really, really want to do this. They get into that, and they realize, oh man, this is not where my passion is. I actually want to do what the person next to me is doing, right? So, and that's kind of how you learn about yourself and try to create goals for your career, and then try different things and kind of stay motivated, and while you're achieving your goals and stuff.
okay, yeah, thank you for this. And just again, like just follow up. So when I was looking for a job, and I knew that I want to do like social media, but when you see social media specialist, social media coordinator, community manager, digital marketer, paid ad specialist, so you see the range of different names, and you don't understand what they like related to, what you need to do. So how do you like suggest people to understand better the positions? For me, like for example, I was talking to people in the industry who are taking at these positions to understand what the position is like and what they do on everyday basis. But how would you like recommend to approach this for just students or grads?
Absolutely. So again, my advice is, if you want to know anything about a position, you're not going to just sit there and guess. Your best way is to apply, and employers love when you have questions. Like, it's not a bad thing. I do it myself. When I look for a job or when there's an opportunity, I make sure I have a long list of questions exactly to be better positioned what you're describing. Like, what is this job really about? Like, what does this actually mean? So my advice to anybody would be, just apply. And once your application is in, you can reach out to recruiter, say, hey, I applied, I'd like to learn more, or I have these specific questions. Like, it's not a bad thing, and people shouldn't be afraid of doing it. Unless you apply or talk to somebody there, you're just going to guess at what this job may or may not be, but you never really will know for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. And yeah, just to next question we will move to, like as an entry level position, for example, at Canadian Tire, and if potentially you're just hiring for your team, someone's gonna like join, like for example, as a digital marketer, or maybe for some other position, what would be the skills that you would be looking for? Maybe even soft skills and hard skills, and where would you like recommend to go get the skills?
Yeah, so if we're not talking about like specific platform skills, other skills that would be really beneficial are things like communication. You got to be able to kind of get your point across, and you got to be able to understand what somebody else is saying. You need to be able to manage expectations. This is key. Like when I see this amongst young people, that's what kind of puts them over the top, is being able to manage expectations, right? So a lot of scenarios that happen with with junior people is they don't know how to deal with a deadline or any of that sort of pressure. And I mean, people just get stressed out and trying to deliver, and not the best way. The best way is to manage expectations, to be able to push back a little bit, to be able to rationalize why it's better for you to take longer to do something, for example, than to try to rush it and do it now. So those sort of things, like being able to professionalism is also a very important one, which not to be mistaken with being nice. Like being nice is not being professional exactly. So that's a good one. If you want to talk about like platform specific skills, it's basically what I mentioned before. Having certificates in various things are nice to have, like Google certificates, Facebook certificates. They're nice to have, but what will kind of put you over the top is actually having gone into these platforms, have tried things yourself, and it will become evident in an interview when somebody has done that. Like I've been in those situations where you bring somebody in and they're fresh out of school, and you start to talk to them, and you will quickly realize that it sounds like they have some experience. They don't have like the lost look when you start to use all the terms, right? Just to test people, just to see where they're at. And the person starts to respond and have a conversation, more or less. You ask them like, "Oh, have you done this before?" And they say, "Oh yeah, I knew I wanted to get into digital marketing, so I opened a Facebook ad account, read the help file, watched the videos." Right? So, and I was like, that was impressive, right? That's a person who probably would consider hiring over somebody that just has a certificate or just wants to be a digital marketer, right?
That sounds absolutely correct. Reason being, I've seen people who want to, join into digital marketing teams or get into digital marketing and are so naive, or I would say they don't know the terminologies and just want to be there. So it's really important that you know the terminologies or have just a brush about that information. So no, since we are talking about here a lot that Tarina and myself, and it's been great insights that you are being given that how one can go into the digital marketing. So like now let's move on the topic of being how the process is there. So during the COVID-19 period, as we all know, there were so many layoffs and people lost their jobs. So according to you, for anyone, like mostly into the ones who are right now freshers who are just coming out, new grads, what should be the proper job strategy in order to get into the industry? Let us talk about more specific to the advertising and marketing industries, especially. And what should they do in order to get that job strategy sorted?
I'll just give you the answer as to like what I would do and what I tell other people to do, and it is something I've kind of mentioned earlier. Is you got to understand, like, digital marketing is spread across many different sectors of companies and sizes of companies. There is a client, there is agency, there is vendor, there is analytics, there is e-commerce, email. There's a lot of things. If you want to be a digital marketer, you shouldn't discriminate what's what and what kind of company it is, especially if you're just trying to get in. Like, don't shoot for the stars, but rather find an entrance and then a ladder, and then you can go up and up and up as you learn more about the space. Apply to everything, reach out to all of the recruiters. Like, especially now, it's key to be top of mind. And I can tell you guys, like, from what I see at work every day, anytime we put out a digital job, there's literally hundreds of applications, 4, 5, 600 applications. And given that, like, a lot of them are not very applicable, it's like accountants trying to do other things in life. But there's a lot of people that could be qualified. It's like students, newcomers to Canada, maybe people with 1, 2 years experience have been around. So any way you can put yourself as being noticed will benefit you. And don't feel like you're being rude or pushy or harassing, or like, do not think that at all, because all of these things will put you top of mind and will make you remembered. Like, people will remember your name. Oh yeah, 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 she did email me. Oh yeah, he did send me a message. Yeah, I remember seeing that resume. Have you seen it? Like, I do come across people who think, oh, I don't want to do it, I don't want to be rude, I don't want to be annoying. Though, trust me, you will only benefit your job search strategy if you be that annoying person. Like, it's good to be remembered, it's good to be on people's mind, especially if you're just trying to get in. Like, it's not gonna hurt you, it's not gonna hurt anybody. Like, nobody goes home is like, oh my gosh, this guy is so annoying. Like, no, like, we're all people and we all know that, everybody's trying to get a job, and there is no harm in you trying to connect more than the next person. It would only help you.
And honestly, I would say that with me, like having Ukrainian background, this is the strategy that I took. And I reached out to so many people. And just to add on this, I would tell people not to like give up. And if you feel like someone is not like responding to you, or is someone not like communicating, or just they seen your message and they didn't respond, it's sometimes frustrating. But again, like people are busy, and if it takes someone some time to respond, or someone didn't respond, it's okay. And just for people and new grads, just don't give up,
Hmm.
just to continue with your job search, because this opportunity waiting somewhere for you. So
Hmm.
your time will come.
100%. Like, don't give up. I know it could be discouraging. Like, I can't respond to all the messages that come my way, unfortunately. But like,
Yeah.
keep sending your communications out there to whoever. Just be positive, stay positive, and try to obtain, the goal that you're trying to get to.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. And yeah, with our last question. So what advice, like maybe some very important advice you would give like to students or new grads or people who are already like giving up with their job search and feel like companies are not hiring, and job and getting a job is just not possible. What would you recommend to them? And second part of this question, I would say, if someone wants to try to get into Canadian Tire Corporation, like digital marketing or like social media, how would you recommend them to approach that? Maybe is it just like applying on LinkedIn, or just talking to someone? So what would you be your recommendation?
So let me start with the second part of your question. What I see work is people who are a little bit strategic about the company they're trying to apply to, or particularly the department that they're trying to be into. Like, for some companies it's harder, but for in digital marketing space, it's not too hard to try to go through like all of the employees within a specific department or a team, like on LinkedIn. Like, you can go on LinkedIn and you can easily find, who the manager of Canadian Tire social marketing
Yeah.
department. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, if you do a bit of research, you start clicking on names and links and connections, you can kind of piece the story together of who's who. And once you do that, just go ahead and reach out to those people. Like, if you want to work for Canadian Tire and social media team, a search team, display team, any team, it's just a few clicks on LinkedIn to see who's who, and who should really hear from you, and that's it. It's really easy. What was the first part of your question?
So it's just like an advice to students and people who think that we'll never get this job during COVID-19.
Yeah, keep honing your skills. Like, don't just sit around, like reading things, log into things, create accounts, and actually, try to run stuff. Just you're not gonna hurt yourself by constantly doing it, because new things always come out. Just stay abreast of what's happening. That way, when you get your shot, I mean, you'll be ready. You'll be ready. So be positive and be ready, and don't give up.
Thank you so much.
That's awesome. Those kind of advice coming from a veteran in industry, and in itself it helps all everyone out there, especially the students and the new grads. So I think so, Jarina, we should let Yuli go for maybe his another tea or coffee before because he has already had his dinner. And
Let me
that's very
give another advice, if you don't mind. This might be
sure,
particularly
please.
useful to newcomers to Canada, and
Yeah,
I've seen people employ this technique and it works, and I've used it myself. Go on LinkedIn and just search people within the industry by a language that you speak,
that's
right? And
Yeah.
you will increase your chance of that person responding versus you sending something to somebody that's a little bit more random.
that's
Like,
really
it,
unique,
it's
and
it's happened to me. Like, I get messages in Russian and Ukrainian, you know what I mean, and like the response rate is a little bit higher than just plain or English copy paste.
That's really good. There is always, you know, I would say that connection with that particular thing, you being in the same line, and people can understand your pain in an equivalent way, I would say. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I would say you nailed it. Like people understand where you're coming from a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. So yeah, Adrina, I should say that we should let Yuli go, have his, great night sleep, or whatever he want to do for sure. As he told us that he has a good dinner already. So yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Yuli, for
Pleasure.
being a part of this podcast, and it was a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. I just wanted to say just a thing that, yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been quite some time since we were like following you on LinkedIn, and like I was reading all your
Oh, you're
posts.
too kind. Too kind.
Oh, why? That's true. I was even participating in one of your, that was
Thank
like
you.
a challenge or something.
Thank you.
So I've been following, I will participate. And so, yeah, thank you so much. I really wanted to meet you, and finally that happened. And yeah, thank you. We hope at some point to have a chance, like maybe to meet you for coffee when this virtual thing disappears. Hopefully at some
We
point.
can do virtual coffees, okay, too.
Okay,
I'm good
that
with
works
whatever. I'm
too.
good with whatever. Like I understand what you guys are trying to do, and I think it's very positive and it's very good. Like when I was, like just couple a few years into the space, like this did not exist. You know what I mean? After I turned off my computer, that was that. There's nobody. There was no forum I could go to, a Facebook group, so what you're doing is extremely positive, and I can tell you that this is motivational and inspiring to a lot of people that are in your position today.
Thank you
Oh,
so much.
of
And
course.
yeah, I just wanted to even say that actually I have my friends who are telling me, oh, Dorina, I've been watching all the episodes and it's been so helpful. So yeah, thank you so much for these words. We really appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah, because we want people to succeed and it's hard right now. And if they have a chance to learn from industry professionals like yourself, that's just amazing opportunity for them to have. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this, Yuli. Have a
All right,
good
guys.
night. Bye bye. Take
Thank
See
care.
ya.
you.
Stay connected.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Bye bye.